May, what happened as a result of the accident and what effect has it had on your life?
Well, it completely changed life because one day I was riding to work and I was a network reporter/analyst at Telstra at 6:59. And by 7 something, I was no longer employable. And I haven't been able to work since. And I can't really look after myself anymore.
And what therapies have you been involved in?
Ooh, well, let's have a look. I have tried absolutely everything I can possibly think of, and other people have been coming up with possibilities to get better. Therapists now, let's see. We've tried what I suppose you could call conventional. We started off the conventional way when we worked out. We ended up in the Alfred Trauma Centre, which therefore led us to Epworth Head Rehabilitation, which with Professor Olver out of Richmond, which then led us to his community team with speech pathologists to learn to speak properly again. Occupational therapists, because I had to learn to coordinate my hands and feet, and physiotherapists and psychologists, because I used to fall asleep every half an hour or an hour, and just to learn to adapt to the changes and the thinking changes. And then I had a lot of swelling, unexpected swelling and pain issues in the head, constant pain.
And how long ago was the accident?
Now, yes, I know that by now. It was 14th of October 2004, so we're 5 years, 4 months or something.
And May, you've got 2 pairs of Irlen glasses there on your knee. What changes have you noticed as a result of the Irlen lenses?
Well, let's see. I used to stutter. Once I got speech back, I stutter. I got confused. I had trouble with motion, things coming towards me, or particularly like windscreen wipers. Or people flashing things, or trying to move around a shopping centre. The movement of things around was just too much for my head to take in. One, I couldn't handle it, and 2, often a lot of nausea. And I would always be falling asleep, like on park benches or at tables. And so my quality of life was really small, but also, a bit dangerous, because I'd be falling asleep and quite nauseous. Since Irlen glasses.
Would you like to put them on?
Now these are my walking around pair. The other pair I use for reading, and you might now notice I can now do eye contact. My speech now improves. It actually allows me to think clearer and to handle more just general day-to-day things, like moving through a shopping centre. My father can now have the windscreen wipers on when the car is raining in the car, rather than having them on intermittent. It's a little bit safer when driving, and he quite likes that. I can now look at car wheels when they're driving along, I can actually just stare at them. That was the first thing I noticed. But also lately, I think it was the most enjoyable thing was taking my niece to see Wind in the Willows in the Botanical Gardens, and actually staying awake for a whole day in the Botanical Gardens and watching a show, and you moved around and listening to the jokes and participating in,
And you were able to absorb all of that and understand it and cope with it.
And then come home and feel fine. And the glasses were on all day. And every time I go to the doctors and or the psychologists, they always say to me, your speech has improved, but they don't,
So they allow you to sort of lead a more normal day-to-day life when you're wearing them?
Oh yes, you need my father here because he'd be jumping over the moon telling you the major changes, and if I haven't got them on, he's going, why haven't you got your glasses on? And you go, get your glasses on. Or if he rings up and he goes, you're stuttering at me, I'm not talking to you until you've got your glasses on,
I must say, May, when I speak to you on the phone, I can tell if you've got your glasses on or not.
Right.
Because there is an obvious change to the way you speak. The speed in which you speak and the sort of fluidity of pronunciation is quite different.
Oh yes, I'm a motor mouth.
Yeah.
I'm a little motor mouth now.
Yeah.
And I can now coordinate around the house. I can now coordinate things around the house.
Right.
I can now sit down and think clearly. Before I was struggling without them on, just you and I, still in a fairly isolated environment to answer your question.
Right.
I can now think clearly, and I can now even take it further. I could now work with my nephew on work with him. I might be a bit slow, but it now
With homework.
Homework now allows me to, it now allows me to contribute to society, albeit in a small way, but it gives me something where before I had nothing.
Right. And May, with your book there, would you like to read a few lines or a paragraph without your lenses and then have a go of reading with them?
All right. Just because.
Just because.
You asked. Now, I couldn't, or it's not true, wouldn't found difficult, particularly out loud, sounded like a 4-year, 5-year-old. When can they read? 6-year-old?
Usually 6 onwards, yeah.
All right, without them.
Now you've got 2 pairs there. One have got a reading script in it and one doesn't. So you've got your reading lenses and your walking around lenses.
Walking, reading. Alright, here we go. Alright. Could be a bit slow. This is the story of French champagne, but it didn't start amid the splendour of a countryside of chateaux. Its origins were a more modest little luxury, the aisle of a well-stocked wine shop. It was a remarkably simple way to have begun an obsession with the history of one of the world's great wines.
Would you like to put your lenses on?
And one of the world's great women. As much as we associate champagne with celebration and a good life, I should also tell you that, for me, it was a passion that began without fanfare in a small town in the American Midwest, where I was trying to weather what turned out to be the last months of a less than glamorous job.
When you didn't have your lenses on, what was happening on the page?
I can't get my mouth around the words. I can't get them
Out of your head and into your mouth.
No.
And the words on the page, are they clear and staying still without your glasses, or are they distorting or moving?
Oh, there's double, and it's just that there's like shadows above them.
Right.
There's just shadows above them. and I can't see them correctly, and they look like there's missing some, and there's bits of, they're just all over the place.
All over the place. And when you put your lenses on,
They're just there.
they're just there as they should be.
Yeah. But all of a sudden they've just anchored themselves more to the page.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does.
They've got darker, they've just gone big.
Stuck on the paper. And May, with walking, I noticed when you came to see me last year, you had a walking stick and you were sliding your arm along the wall to guide you as you walked. What changes have you noticed with the lenses when you're walking?
Okay. I still use my stick because I still have trouble knowing where the ground is. But with the stick, I used to still have to look at the ground. With the lenses, I can my head's up.
So you can walk looking forward and what's around you and confidently knowing that the stick is just guiding you.
Yeah, I can feel now it's on the ground with the stick, and I can look up, I can talk at the same time.
I remember when we were doing the lens assessment and we went outside, you said to me, I can feel my feet on the ground. And I said to you, what do you mean? And you said, without the lenses you can't feel past your knees, and with the lenses you can feel your feet.
I could feel my feet. I still have trouble feeling this part, but I can feel the feet, and then so I said I can now feel the stick on the ground.
Right.
And I can look up, and I can talk. But without them, I have to look up the ground totally.
So you walk more normally, I guess we could say, and more confidently with the lenses on.
Oh, most definitely. They make changes for the better, but I actually get tired sometimes because the change is so good. So it makes
You're not used to it, so it wears you out.
Yes.
Well, May, I'd like to thank you for giving your time today. I'm sure that those who will watch this will gain a lot from it. Thank you.
Can I say one
Yes,
thing?
yeah, absolutely.
Because you said, I need to say this. Can I just say this? And this is important. This is important to everyone. It's just to remember it's about the patient. And I said this to you earlier. Just remember it's about the patient. And the patient really wants to get better. So I want everyone out there, medical people, to be open-minded. Okay? Open-minded about, that things work for various reasons. But just be open-minded, and if it works, to embrace it, okay? And to give it a go, because for some reason it just might work. And if it gives the patient extra quality of life, who cares?
It's worth doing and worth thinking about and considering.
Yes, you've given me quality of life.
Yes.
Well, more quality of life,
Yes.
And hey, better than falling asleep on a park bench.
That's right. Well, May, thank you once again. Really appreciate it.